When a broke waitress uses an Oil Magnate's black card, she unlocks a world of power and danger that reveals shocking secrets about her past. The restaurant buzzed with chatter. Waitresses rushed between tables, balancing trays of steaming plates. In the corner, a man sat alone, dressed in a tailored suit. His name was Jack Sullivan, an oil magnate. His dark eyes scanned the room like a hawk. Sarah, a waitress, caught his gaze. She pushed a stray hair behind her ear. She wore a simple black dress, her apron tied tight around her waist. The tips weren't coming in tonight, and her rent was due. She felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. Jack beckoned her over. "I'll have the filet mignon," he said, his voice smooth like silk, "and a glass of your finest red." He looked up at her, his expression unreadable. She felt a mix of fear and curiosity. "You're new here?" "Yeah," she replied, trying to sound confident. "Just a few weeks in." Her heart raced, but she kept her cool. "Anything else I can get you?" He smiled, a small, dangerous smile. "You can bring me your name." She blinked, surprised. "Sarah," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Sarah, huh? Nice to meet you." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a sleek black card. "Here, take it." Her eyes widened. "This is a credit card?" His grin widened. "Not just any card. My black card. Unlimited cash." She hesitated, feeling the weight of the card in her palm. "Why would you give this to me?" "Let's just say I like taking risks." He leaned back, cool and confident. "Think of it as a test. You can spend it tonight or hand it back." She felt a rush of adrenaline. The night was a blur of possibilities and danger. "What if I say yes?" she asked, her voice steady now. He leaned in closer, his tone serious. "Then your life changes. Fast." She looked at the card, then back at him. This was the chance she needed. But what would it cost her? She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of it all. "Okay, I'm in." Jack raised an eyebrow, impressed. "Let's see what you do, Sarah." With that, she turned and walked away, the card clutched tight in her hand. Each step felt heavier, as if she were stepping into a world she didn't yet understand. But she was determined to find out. But this was only the start. Sarah returned to the bar, heart racing. She stared at the black card in her hand. What had she just agreed to? Jack watched her, a smirk playing on his lips. He leaned forward, his eyes glinting with interest. "What's the plan, Sarah?" "I don't know yet," she replied, feeling the weight of the card. "But I want to make it count." She glanced around the restaurant, trying to think. "Maybe I'll book a hotel room, get a taste of the high life." He kept his voice low, careful with each word. "Say it straight," he said. "No games." A small silence cut the tension. Jack raised an eyebrow. "A hotel? Boring. You want to impress me? Do something bold." He leaned back, challenge in his voice. "How about a bet? You spend my money and I want to see if you can turn it into more." She answered fast, then fell quiet. "I'm not afraid," she replied. "Not tonight." He chose the next words with care. "Like what?" she asked, intrigued but unsure. He moved first, not giving anyone time to think. He checked the room and kept his back to the wall. She shook her head and took a step closer. "Throw a party. Invite some fun people. Use the card to pay for everything," he replied, his tone playful but serious. "If it flops, you owe me. If it works, you keep the profits. Simple." She stood her ground, eyes steady. She watched his hands, not his smile. They held eye contact. Neither blinked. Sarah felt a thrill. A party could change everything. "What if it works?" she asked, trying to hide her excitement. "What do I get then?" Jack's smirk turned serious. "You get a partner. I like your style. But remember, it's a risk. If you fail, you walk away empty-handed. You'll still owe me the card." "Deal," she said, shaking his hand. The stakes were high, but she felt alive. Jack leaned in closer. "Plan it out tonight. I'll give you 2 days. Be smart, Sarah. I'll be watching." With that, he got up and slid out of the booth, leaving her with a mix of fear and excitement. The night was just beginning. But this was only the start. Sarah felt the adrenaline rush through her as she processed Jack's challenge. She couldn't believe he was serious about throwing a party. "Are you really expecting me to just invite a bunch of strangers and hope for the best?" she asked, crossing her arms. Jack leaned against the bar, unfazed. "Why not? You've got the cash. Use it to make something happen. Show me what you're made of." His confidence was almost infuriating, but she saw a flicker of something else in his eyes. "Look, I'm not just your toy, Jack. This isn't a game for me." He chuckled softly, brushing off her words. "I know that, but you're already in the game. You said you'd make this count, so prove it." His tone was teasing, but there was an edge to it. She felt the pressure, but she refused to back down. "I'm not looking to play by your rules," she shot back. Jack's smile faded slightly. "Fine, but if you want to impress me, you'll need to take some risks." He stepped closer, invading her space. "You think you can pull this off?" She stood her ground, refusing to let him intimidate her. "I can handle it. Just watch." He leaned in, his voice low. "I'll be watching closely, Sarah. You think you've got what it takes? Then show me." The challenge hung in the air, thick and charged. The heat between them felt electric, yet they were both too proud to acknowledge it. She wanted to prove him wrong. "I'll throw a party and it'll be a success. Just you wait," she said, her voice steady. Jack's eyes narrowed, intrigued yet skeptical. "I hope you know what you're doing. I won't go easy on you." With that, he straightened up and backed away, the smirk returning. "I'll see you in 2 days. Don't disappoint me." She watched him leave, determination rising inside her. Her heart pounded at the thrill of the challenge. She couldn't fail. Not now. But the thought of him watching her every move made her pulse race for another reason. The next hit was closer than they knew. Sarah sat at the empty table, her fingers tracing the edge of the black card. The challenge buzzed in her ears. What would it take to pull off this party? She picked up her phone and opened her contacts. She needed help. This wasn't a solo mission. She texted her friend Jess. "Hey, we need to talk. Big plans." Jess replied quickly. "What's up?" Sarah took a deep breath. "I'm throwing a party. Need to gather people and make it wild." Jess's response was instant. "I'm in. Let's make it epic." He kept his voice low, careful with each word. "Say it straight," he said. "No games." A small silence cut the tension, but as excitement bubbled, Sarah remembered Jack's words. She had to set boundaries. "Okay, Jess, we can't get too reckless. Jack gave me a card, and I can't blow it all. We need to stick to a budget." Jess nodded, her eyes wide. "Right, no wasting." "I get it," she answered fast, then fell quiet. "I'm not afraid," she replied. "Not tonight." He chose the next words with care. Sarah continued. "And no drama. I don't want any trouble. If it gets out of hand, it could come back to me." Jess sighed, her smile dimming. "Sure, but what about Jack? Is he coming?" Sarah frowned. "He'll be watching. I can't have him thinking I'm just some party girl." He moved first, not giving anyone time to think. He checked the room and kept his back to the wall. She shook her head and took a step closer. Jess raised an eyebrow. "You think he'd care about rules? He's rich and powerful. He might want excitement, not control." Sarah felt a chill at Jess's words. "There's a line. I can't cross it. If I do, I lose more than just the card." She didn't want to think about the consequences. She stood her ground, eyes steady. She watched his hands, not his smile. "All right, I get it," Jess said. "But if it works, we could make a lot of money. Just don't forget what you're in this for." Sarah nodded, determination clearing her mind. "I know, I'm in control. I won't fail." But deep down, she felt the weight of Jack's watchful eyes. The boundaries she set felt fragile. What if she crossed them? This was only the start. She was about to cross a line. Sarah felt the energy shift as people began to fill the restaurant. The party was in full swing, and laughter echoed through the air. She stood behind the bar mixing drinks, trying to keep up. Every so often, her gaze darted to Jack, who was leaning casually against a wall, watching everything unfold. "Looks like you've got a crowd," Jack said, stepping closer. His voice was smooth. but there was a challenge in his eyes. "I wasn't sure you'd pull it off." She smirked, pouring another drink. "You're not the only one who can take risks." He kept his voice low, careful with each word. "Say it straight," he said. "No games." A small silence cut the tension. He raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. "Risky is good, but are you in control, or are you just another party girl?" His words stung, but she held her ground. "I can handle myself, Jack. This isn't a game." She answered fast, then fell quiet. "I'm not afraid," she replied. "Not tonight." He chose the next words with care. He leaned closer, the tension thick between them. "Prove it. Show me you can keep it together." She felt her heart race, but she refused to back down. "I don't need to prove anything to you." She made eye contact, firm and unwavering. "I'm not here to impress you." He moved first, not giving anyone time to think. He checked the room and kept his back to the wall. She shook her head and took a step closer. Jack chuckled softly, leaning even closer. "You're already impressive, but I want to see if you can keep it up." His gaze was piercing, and Sarah felt exposed. "What do you want from me?" she asked, her voice steady. "You're throwing a party. What's next?" She stood her ground, eyes steady. She watched his hands, not his smile. They held eye contact. Neither blinked. He stepped back, crossing his arms. "A true test. Keep this party alive, make it memorable, and don't forget I'm watching." There was a challenge in his tone, and she felt the heat of his words. "Consider it a warm-up for what's to come." A fire sparked in her chest. The night was young, and she wasn't done yet. She felt the weight of his gaze, but she wouldn't let it shake her. The night was just beginning, but this was only the start. The gala hall was buzzing with people dressed to the nines. Sarah stood at the entrance, feeling the weight of the black card in her purse. She'd been invited as Jack's +1. Her heart raced. This was a whole new level, a challenge, just like he wanted. "You ready?" Jack asked, adjusting his tie. He looked sharp, and she felt underdressed. "Let's do this," she replied, trying to sound confident. They stepped inside, and the atmosphere changed. Crystal chandeliers lit up the room. Waiters moved among the crowd with trays of drinks, and laughter filled the air. But Sarah felt the tension. High-stakes people were all around. Jack leaned closer, pointing out familiar faces. "That's Tony, the auctioneer. Watch him closely." "What's he auctioning?" Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Jack smirked. "Everything. But tonight's big item? A rare painting, worth millions." She took a deep breath, her palms sweating. "You think I should bid?" He raised an eyebrow. "If you're feeling bold, just remember, this isn't like your party." She nodded, absorbing his words. The stakes were high, and she knew it. As the auction began, the room quieted. Tony took the stage, his voice smooth like silk. The crowd leaned in. Sarah glanced at Jack, who stood relaxed, arms crossed. "You're not bidding?" she asked. He looked right at her, a hint of challenge in his eyes. "Not my game tonight. You should take a shot." The moment felt charged. She couldn't back down now. As the auction heated up, Sarah felt a pull to the stage. "I'm in," she said suddenly, her voice strong. Jack's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and excitement. She moved forward, heart pounding. "I'll start the bid at $100,000. The room gasped. She could feel the weight of every gaze on her. "What are you doing?" Jack hissed, stepping closer. "You don't have to." "I know what I'm doing," Sarah replied, cutting him off. Something in her surged. The auction continued, and she found herself lost in the moment. As the price climbed, she raised her paddle again. "200,000, the crowd murmured. Jack's expression changed. He stepped back, watching with a mix of awe and worry. She focused, ready to win. "Going once, going twice," Tony called out, raising the stakes higher. She felt Jack's hand on her arm, pulling her back. "Sarah, wait." But she shook him off. "I'm not backing down now." The final call rang out. "Sold!" Cheers filled the room, and the unexpected applause washed over her. She'd done it. But just as she smiled, she noticed Jack's face. serious, unreadable. In a split second, she realized she hadn't just bought a painting. She had caught the attention of everyone around them, including those who played the most dangerous games. Someone was listening in the dark. Sarah stood off to the side, the clinking of glasses and murmurs of conversation swirling around her. The rush from winning the auction still coursed through her veins. But as she watched Jack, a new feeling crept in. Vulnerability. She took a breath, trying to shake it off. "Did you really think I could pull that off?" she asked, a hint of uncertainty in her voice. Jack turned to her, his expression shifting. "You did it. I didn't expect that." He looked impressed, but there was something else there. "But why did you bid so high? You could have backed out." Sarah shrugged, her smile fading. "It felt like my moment. I thought I could handle it." "You're not just playing with money, Sarah," Jack said, his voice lowering. "You stepped into a shark tank." She bristled at that. "I know what I'm doing," she insisted, but her tone was shaky. "You really think I'm just some party girl?" He held her gaze. "No, but I can see you're holding back." Sarah clenched her fists. "I'm not holding back!" But she felt the truth. Her mind drifted back to the last big risk she had taken. It was years ago, and the memory hit her like a punch. I lost everything once," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "My family didn't have much, but I thought I could make a difference." Jack's expression softened. "What happened?" She hesitated. "I tried to help my mom keep our diner afloat. I used every penny I had. Then one night it burned down. I couldn't save it." Tears pricked her eyes. "I watched everything we worked for turn to ash." There it was, the raw ache she tried to bury. Jack stepped closer, sensing the shift. "That's tough, Sarah. No wonder you're afraid to lose again." She blinked back tears. "I can't go through that again. I can't." Her voice broke and she felt exposed. The confidence she had just moments ago disappeared. "I thought I could change my life. But what if I mess it up again?" Jack reached out, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You're not alone in this. Just take a breath. You didn't fail tonight. You succeeded. Remember that." She looked at him, searching for strength. His eyes were steady, unwavering, but just then a man in a dark suit crossed their path, eyes glinting with something sinister. Sarah's heart raced. She wasn't just playing with high stakes. She was now on a dangerous stage, and someone was already watching her moves. One move would change everything. Sarah felt the tension rise as the man in the dark suit approached. His eyes roamed over Jack and her. "Well, well," he said, his voice smooth but threatening. "Didn't expect to see you here, Jack." Jack's jaw tightened. "Not tonight, Tony." Sarah's heart raced. She could sense the shift in the air. Tony smirked, leaning closer. "And who's this pretty little thing? You're turning heads, sweetheart." She felt a chill creep down her spine. "I'm not interested," she said firmly, trying to project confidence. Jack stepped between them. "Back off, Tony. You don't want to do this." The protectiveness in his tone was clear. "Oh, come on. I'm just trying to make a friend," Tony said, taking a step closer. Jack didn't move. "You don't have any friends, Tony. You're all about business, and I'm not interested in yours." The tension was thick. Sarah shifted, feeling the urge to back away. She could see the muscles in Jack's arms tighten. "Easy there, Jack," Tony said, suddenly looking amused. "I'm not here to start trouble. Just wanted to say hello." Jack's gaze stayed locked on Tony. "You do trouble well enough on your own." Sarah felt Jack's protective energy. It steadied her, but she still felt uneasy. The energy in the room felt dangerous. "Let's not drag this out," she said, stepping beside Jack. "We don't need to play games." Jack glanced at her, surprised but pleased. "You're right," he said slowly. "Let's just walk away." But Tony laughed softly. "You think you can just walk away? It's never that simple." Jack stepped forward, leaning slightly toward Tony. "It will be simple. If you don't back off, you'll regret it." The words hung in the air. For the first time, Sarah felt a rush of respect for Jack. He wasn't just protecting her. He was putting himself at risk for her. Tony's smirk faded. "We'll see about that." With that, he turned and disappeared into the crowd. Sarah exhaled, tension easing. "Thanks," she whispered to Jack, her heart pounding. He looked at her, a fire in his eyes. This isn't over. She was about to cross a line. Sarah leaned against the cool wall of the balcony, taking a deep breath. The gala was still in full swing behind her, but the cool night air felt good. Jack joined her, his presence steadying. He looked out over the city, the lights twinkling like stars. "You okay?" he asked, glancing at her. "Yeah, just needed a moment," she replied, her voice soft. "Tonight got intense." Jack nodded, crossing his arms. "You handled it well. Not many would have the guts to bid like that." She smiled, feeling a warmth spread in her chest. "Thanks, but I just did what felt right." He kept his voice low, careful with each word. "Say it straight," he said. "No games." A small silence cut the tension. They stood in silence for a moment, the city buzzing below them. Sarah broke the quiet. "What about you? How did you end up in all this?" He looked thoughtful. "Long story, but it starts with wanting more than what I had." She leaned in, curious. "And what was that?" She answered fast, then fell quiet. "I'm not afraid," she replied. "Not tonight." He chose the next words with care. Jack chuckled, shaking his head. "A family business that didn't pay much?" He paused, looking serious. "I wanted to change my life. Do something bigger." Sarah felt a connection forming. "I get that. I just wanted to help my family." He moved first, not giving anyone time to think. He checked the room and kept his back to the wall. She shook her head and took a step closer. "Did you?" Jack asked softly, and she felt the weight of his words. "Not really. I thought I could, but I lost everything." Her voice cracked a little, but she pushed through. "It was a tough lesson." He stepped closer, his eyes searching hers. "You're strong for coming back from that." She stood her ground, eyes steady. She watched his hands, not his smile. They held eye contact. Neither blinked. His gaze held hers, and for a moment everything else faded away. "Thank you," she whispered, feeling something shift between them. "Sometimes I don't feel strong." Jack was quiet for a beat, then moved even closer. "You are, Sarah." She felt the heat rise between them. He almost leaned in for a kiss, but then he pulled back, tension lingering in the air. "You're something special." The moment left her breathless. The next hit was closer than they knew. Sarah felt the thrill fade as she caught Jack's gaze. He looked different now, tense and alert. "What is it?" she asked, searching his face. He hesitated, then said, "I need to show you something." His voice was low, almost urgent. She shifted back, the night air suddenly feeling heavier. "What are you talking about? Just trust me." He stepped back inside, and she followed him, heart racing. They moved through the gala, past clusters of people chatting and laughing. Jack led her to a quiet corner where the noise faded. "I got a message earlier," he said, pulling out his phone. "It's about Tony." "What do you mean?" Sarah asked, confusion washing over her. He handed her the phone, and she read the screen. It was a message from an unknown number. "You need to watch your back. Tony's not just a player. He's got plans." She felt her stomach drop. "What kind of plans?" Jack rubbed the back of his neck. "Plans that involve you. He knows about the auction and what you did." Fear tightened her chest. "What? How?" She glanced at Jack, realizing the stakes had risen. "I thought we were done with him." "We were, until now," Jack replied, frustration creeping into his voice. "This isn't just about money anymore, Sarah. It's personal for him." She looked back at the crowd, the laughter feeling distant. "What do we do?" Jack leaned closer, intensity in his gaze. "We need to be careful. I'll handle it. Just stay with me." Before she could respond, a figure emerged from the shadow, a waiter with a strained expression. "I overheard something," he said, looking nervous. "Tony is planning something big tonight, something bad." Sarah felt her heart race again. "What do you mean?" The waiter cast a quick glance around before leaning in closer. "He's setting a trap. It's about revenge, and you're the target." Jack's expression hardened. "We need to move, now!" The urgency echoed in the air, and Sarah felt the world shift beneath her feet. He thought he was in control. He wasn't. Sarah felt the weight of Jack's words pressing down on her. The tension crackled in the air. "What do you mean, I'm the target?" she asked, panic rising in her voice. Jack's eyes were fierce. "Tony wants to make a statement. You're in the way." The realization hit her hard. "We can't let him do this," she whispered, fear pooling in her stomach. Jack grabbed her arm, his grip firm but not hurting. "We need to stick together. I'll keep you safe." She nodded, wanting to believe him, but doubt crept in. "What if you can't?" The question hung in the air, heavy and real. Jack's expression hardened. "I won't let that happen." They moved through the crowd, the gala now feeling like a maze. The laughter and chatter felt suffocating. Jack kept his gaze sharp, searching for threats. "Stay close," he said, eyes scanning. "If anything looks off, we leave." Sarah felt a mixture of admiration and fear. "I'm not going anywhere," she replied, trying to sound brave. Then the lights flickered. People looked around, unsure. Jack's body stiffened. "This doesn't feel right," he muttered. Sarah's heart raced. "What do we do?" Jack didn't answer. Instead, he pulled her further into the crowd, urgency in his movements. "Just follow me. Don't look back." Suddenly, they heard shouting. A glass shattered sharp and loud. Chaos erupted as people scrambled to leave. "Jack!" Sarah screamed, panic flooding through her. He turned, eyes wide. "Stay here!" But she couldn't. She felt the pull of the crowd. "I can't!" Before she could make a move, a hand grabbed her wrist. It wasn't Jack's. It was Tony. "Leaving so soon," he sneered, pulling her away. Everything in Sarah screamed to fight back, but she felt frozen. "Let go of me!" she yelled, desperation creeping in. Jack turned back, but Tony pushed her away from him. "You don't want to be on the wrong side of this game." Sarah watched helplessly as Jack's face twisted in rage. "Sarah!" he shouted, but the moment slipped away. Just then the crowd surged, and she felt her connection with Jack slip into darkness. One move would change everything. Jack's heart raced as he fought to push through the chaos. "Sarah!" he shouted, eyes scanning the crowd for her, his fists clenched, anger boiling in his veins. He couldn't let Tony take her, not like this. He pushed past the panicked guests, desperation fueling his movements. "Over here!" he heard her voice call out, and hope surged. He spotted her struggling against Tony, who had a wicked grin plastered on his face. Jack lunged forward, but the crowd twisted like a snake, blocking his path. He couldn't lose her again. "Let her go!" he yelled, trying to break through. Fear and fury collided inside him as he fought against the tide of bodies. Tony tightened his grip on Sarah's wrist, but she wouldn't back down. "You think I'm scared of you?" she shot back. Jack admired her spirit, even under pressure. "Let's make this interesting," Tony said, eyes flicking to Jack. "How about a game? You win, she walks. You lose, I take her with me." The stakes were high, but Jack could see the fire in Sarah's eyes. "No games, Tony," he said, voice steady. "Let her go now." The smirk faded from Tony's face. "You're not in charge here, Jack. You never were." Jack felt the weight of those words. He wasn't just fighting for Sarah. This was about everything he had built. He took a deep breath, weighing his options. "If you want her, you'll have to go through me." He stepped forward, determination etched into his features. "I'm not afraid to lose it all." Tony's eyes narrowed. "You think you're some hero?" Jack shook his head. "I'm not a hero, but I'll do whatever it takes to protect the people I care about." He felt a rush of clarity. He had sacrificed so much for wealth and power. Maybe it was time to sacrifice something else. "What do you want from me, Tony?" Tony paused, seeming to consider Jack's words. "I want you to give up your claim. Give up your power," he said slowly. "Walk away from everything you worked for. Then she goes free." The silence hung thick between them. Jack felt Sarah's gaze on him, searching, pleading. He could feel their entire future hanging in the balance. He thought of what he wanted most. Was it worth more than her safety? "You're on," he replied, voice steady. The moment shifted. He knew this gamble could cost him everything. But this was only the start. Jack stood his ground, looking at Tony with fierce determination. "I'm not walking away," he said. "Not now. Not ever." The tension crackled like electricity between them. Sarah felt the weight of Jack's words. She knew he meant it, but the risk was high, and she didn't want him to lose everything. "Jack, please," she started, but Tony cut her off. "You think you can protect her by making stupid decisions?" Tony stepped closer, a sinister smile creeping onto his face. "You say you care about her, but look where that got you, stuck in a game you can't win." Jack's jaw tightened. He could feel anger bubbling beneath the surface. "I won't let you take her," he replied. "You think I'm afraid of losing? I've already lost more than you can imagine." Sarah's heart raced. She wanted to shout, to pull Jack back, but she felt frozen, caught in this deadly dance. "Love is about sacrifice," Tony taunted, his voice dripping with mockery. "But you're playing for keeps." "I'm not giving her up without a fight." Sarah's heart sank. The truth stung. Were they really in a fight for her? Jack took a step forward, unwavering. "If it's a choice between her safety and my power, I choose her." His words were heavy, echoing in the chaos around them. Sarah's breath hitched. She couldn't let Jack lose everything. "This isn't just about us," she said, her voice rising. "If I'm to be with you, it has to be equal. We have to be free." Jack's eyes locked onto hers, searching. She could see the gears turning in his mind. "You're right," he said slowly. "I want us both to be free from this mess, but what does that even look like?" Tony's laughter rang out. "You think you can just decide what freedom looks like? It doesn't work that way." Jack's fists clenched at his sides. "You don't get to dictate our lives, Tony." Sarah stepped closer to Jack, feeling the heat between them. "Let's make this clear," she said firmly. "I won't be a pawn in your game." The crowd surged again, and chaos beckoned. Jack faced Tony, his resolve steady. "You want to play? Fine, but we're not playing by your rules anymore." He glanced at Sarah, feeling the fire in her eyes. "Together, we'll break free." Their gazes locked, a silent promise passing between them. The moment hung heavy with tension, and they both knew the next decision would change everything. She was about to cross a line. Jack stood at the edge of the gala, heart pounding. The chaos had settled into a heavy silence. Sarah was by his side, her eyes locked on his. "What now?" she asked, voice steady but uncertain. Jack took a breath, feeling the weight of their choices. "Now, we take control. Together." He reached for her hand, and she clasped it tightly, drawing strength from the connection. They stepped away from the crowd, ignoring Tony's frustrated shouts. Jack turned to Sarah, urgency in his voice. "We need a plan. Tony won't back down easily." She nodded, determination reflecting in her gaze. "Let's expose him. Everyone here knows about his games." Jack smiled slightly, impressed by her resolve. "You're right. We have to gather evidence. Show people who he really is." As they moved through the gala, they collected snippets of conversations and footage on their phones. Sarah's fingers flew over the screen, her focus sharp. "This will get people talking," she said, glancing up at Jack. He nodded, feeling hope rise in his chest. "We can make a difference, Sarah. We can end this." She squeezed his hand, their bond strengthening in that moment. "You and me against the world." "Always," Jack replied, his voice low and fierce. They kept working, setting a trap of their own. The tension that had hung over them was lifting, replaced by a shared purpose. They were no longer pawns in Tony's game. They were players, willing to fight for their future. A few days later, they released the videos online. The reactions were immediate. Messages poured in, support and disbelief at Tony's actions. Jack watched as the tide turned. People started to rally, standing against Tony's influence. "We did it," he said, pride swelling in his chest. Sarah laughed, her joy lighting up the room. "We really did." As they celebrated, Jack turned serious. "This is just the beginning." Sarah looked at him, eyes bright. "I know, and I'm ready." Jack smiled, feeling lighter than he had in years. They had a chance at a new life, away from darkness and fear, but in the back of his mind, he knew Tony wouldn't go down quietly. "Are you ready for whatever comes next?" he asked, a hint of worry in his tone. She nodded fiercely, mirroring his determination. "Let's do this together. What would you risk for love?" Hit the like button and share your thoughts below. One move would change everything.